Hey everybody, thanks for taking a couple minutes to check out my channel. If you are new here and you enjoy this video, if you get some useful information, if you could take a second to give me a quick comment or a thumbs up, I'd truly appreciate it. And if you're here watching all my videos, I can't thank you enough. I know a lot of guys come to watch my trapping videos, but they actually watch all my honey extraction and beekeeping videos too, so I can't thank you enough for that. But I'm going to show my new honey extraction setup going on here. It is October the 3rd, and this is like, as far as my hobbies go, this is the busiest time of the year for me. I got beekeeping coming to a close, archery season just started, and trapping's coming up. So I got all kinds of hobby stuff going on. But I tried moving my honey extraction out to a more isolated area, away from pets, and hopefully by next year I'll have a designated place for this. But I'm going to be pulling honey supers off today. I just wanted to show you some of the new stuff I got going on. I wanted to have a sink out here, so I got a removable sink. I just ordered a utility tub off of Lowe's, and I put a hook up out here. I can disassemble or assemble this thing in about less than 5 minutes, probably just a couple threads, and I pull the legs off, and it'll go back into a box. I actually bought a new honey extractor. I'll show you that in a minute. After I ordered my sink from Lowe's, I got this idea in my head. I was gonna buy an economy uncapping tank, and it was basically a couple like plastic totes with a honey gate on it, and it was like 70 bucks, I think. But after I bought this sink for like $50, I got it, I think $52 shipped to my door with a 10% military discount. If you didn't have the discount, I think it'd be about 60 bucks. But I looked at the sink and I thought I can make an uncapping tank. And we'll see how it goes. I don't know, a lot of this stuff I've never used before, and it's going to be a first time go for me. I basically added some sides. If you want to see a whole thing on this uncapping tank, I could give you a rundown on exactly what I did. But basically I added some boards, and I got a stainless steel screw coming up here. I'll be able to hold my frame here, cut the sides off, or uncap the frames, flip it over, uncap both sides. And then I'll be able to stack 9 frames into here as I'm uncapping. And I can just uncap and add my frames to here. And then I can get them moved to the extractor, and I can just do a bunch of things at one time. I also added to the bottom here, I took a plastic tote and I drilled about, I don't know, a couple hundred holes in here, and I cut it off low enough so that my frames don't hit it, and I got a couple of just little pieces of wood to keep it up off the bottom here so the honey can drain out of the uncappings. You get a lot of honey in the uncappings. Hopefully this is going to work out. I know that the uncappings might build up here to where the frames are hitting. I'm going to try to keep it back on this side so I can still stack my frames out here. This part here I'm a little skeptical on, this little screen I put in here. I think it's probably just going to get plowed out of the way. Regardless, I'll just let that drip down into a stainless steel pot and then put it into one of my honey buckets. I got a new extractor. I invested in this. I hope it's going to work as good as I think. There's a lot of reviews on this online. If you want to see a detailed review of this or that, I'll do that separately. Let me know. But this will do 9 frames. My old was a hand crank one that would do 2 frames. I think it's called tangentially. I don't know. I'll probably get these mixed up. But basically, this will do 9 frames radially, where they stick straight out like this. I'll show this in the video coming up. And it extracts both sides at the same time, so there's no flipping involved in medium frames. But it'll do 3 large frames tangentially, I think, and you still have to flip the large frame though. Most of my frames are mediums or smalls. It'll do 9 at once. This is a Hilco extractor. I picked this one. I mean, price range, it was a little less than like the Maxent and the Dadant, I believe. But I like this one a lot because not only does it have a conical, like I don't know if you can see this or get a view of this, but it cones out. This is the high point right here, and it slopes here. But it also slopes from the back side of the extractor to the front where the honey gate is, there's probably about a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch of a slope here coming down this way. I don't know if it shows up here, but there's like a seam that's nice. It's a nice weld too. But this is probably about 1.5 inches here. And then back here, it's probably only about 3/4 of an inch. So it slopes downhill this way. So it's all going to drain into the bucket here nicely. I'm also going to try a different filtering system. I saw this on, I believe it was, I think it's, I can't remember his name, but it's on Barnyard Bees. He basically takes a paint strainer, puts it into a 5-gallon bucket, and then fills it up with honey, and then just pulls the paint strainer out of there. So I'm gonna go, hopefully I'll be back with all my honey supers stacked up here. I'll get them here. I'll check the moisture level with the refractometer. And then I'm going to show some of this stuff in action, the uncapping and the extractor in action coming up. So give me a minute and I'll be back with a couple boxes of honey. Okay, so it's actually the next day. I do have my honey supers brought in here. However, when I checked the moisture level, I had some frames that were like 17%, and I had a couple frames that were like around 20, and then I think I had one at like 22%. So I watched a couple videos on how to dry honey and cure honey, and I did it, and it worked pretty well, really. A couple box fans on top of the honey supers. I had a dehumidifier running, and I think the humidity level got down to about 36% in here. I ran this all night, probably about 20 hours total so far, and I'll let them run a little bit while I'm actually starting this extraction process. But I checked a few more of these supers, or a few more of the frames. I actually had one at 14%, I think. And I checked the one way down the bottom. I knew the one that I checked that had 22. It was down to about 19, right around 19. So I'm sure it's all going to average out good, and I'm going to get to extracting this. I'll turn you back on when I get some frames inside my new extractor, get it spinning, and I will let you know how my uncapping tank and the extractor is working. So far so good on my uncapping tank. I got 9 frames inside my extractor. I got my honey bucket down here with my paint strainer in it. And once I get this spinning, I got to keep this honey gate open for sure. I've never used this before. This is the very first time. I have watched a few other videos of guys using these, and they shook some quite a bit. So I had a sheet of 3/4 inch plywood, cut it in half, and I got it bolted as plywood. It seems pretty stable, but we'll see how she goes. I'm going to try to start up real slow. Maybe. And not yet. So I got nothing moving here. Oh, I guess I would, if I turned it on, it may help. Maybe that helps. Okay, I hear a slight fan, a little fan running. Maybe this will work now. I guess I have it up on about 4 out of 10 so far. Nice and quiet. That thing is pretty quiet. I'm hoping to see some. Oh, there's honey coming out already. Oh, it's coming out nicely already. Oh, this might be sweet. It's not shaking too bad yet. I think once it spins some of the honey out, it might balance itself out even more. I'm just going to slowly keep turning this up, and I'll turn it back on once the honey starts flowing out of the gate here. Nice and quiet, really quiet.
That's bizarre.
What? That's bizarre? My wife said that's bizarre. It's pretty quiet, isn't it? I mean, this, so far so great, I'm going to say. But I'm going to get my fan running back on my honey again, and I'll turn you back on in a minute here. Okay, just a couple, not even 2 minutes, right, Tammy?
Right.
It's been running and the honey's just flowing out of there nicely. It's pretty warm in here too, so the honey's nice and thin. I'm gonna keep turning this up. It's not shaking too bad. Nice, great investment so far. So we'll let this fill up, and then eventually I'll just pull that whole paint strainer right out of there, and I guess I'll have a filtered bucket of honey. Again, I saw this on Barnyard Bees with, I can't remember his name. I think it's David, or I'm not sure, but it's on Barnyard Bees. Okay, ran my first batch through, 9 frames, extracted. Did a great job. They're completely extracted out. Basically, I ran the extractor while I uncapped 9 more frames. I'll be able to empty this, put 9 more frames in there, get this spinning, and uncap 9 more frames. My uncapping tank it's working pretty decent. I'm gonna check out, see if I got anything running out of here. Oh, I got honey coming out of there into my bucket here. And I did learn something though. I had a small flat washer in between here, and my honey gate was open a little bit, and I lost a couple teaspoons of honey. But that's, oh, I better quit messing around. I'm gonna lose some more. But yeah, there was a small washer in here and left a small gap there. But I got about, I'd say about a gallon and a half of honey out of the first 9 frames. It's still drizzling out slowly. That tank being angled down is awesome. It's just slowly draining out. I think I'm gonna love this extractor. I will be back once I get them all extracted, and I'll show you the final take on everything. Okay, so here's my final haul for this extraction. It was real close to 20 gallons, I think 19 3/4 gallon, which puts me at about 50 gallons for the year. A lot for me. And let's see, 20 gallons is about 230 pounds, and 50 gallons is about pushing 600 pounds of honey out of my hives, which is, for me, that's awesome. The extractor, I love my extractor. It worked awesome. It's the first time I ever used an electric extractor. And if you're on the fence for buying one, if you've been hand cranking and you're thinking could use an electric extractor, if you can swing it, I say swing it. And the Hilco extractor worked really cool. That slope at the bottom helped drain out the honey, and it helped me almost separate some different supers, and I ended up with pretty much 2 different colors of honey. I got some darker stuff here and some lighter stuff. Once all the lighter stuff ran out, I started extracting the darker frames of honey, and it did a pretty good job of keeping them separate. This is a lighter flavor, and this is I guess more robust flavor right here. All in all, I'm ecstatic with my beekeeping for this year. I'm slowly figuring some of this stuff out, and now it's on to some other hobbies: hunting and trapping. All right, if you enjoyed this video, if you could take a second to give me a thumbs up, I appreciate everybody watching, and I hope you all have a blessed day.